Stand by for the most extraordinary chain of events ever swept up into high adventure.
Hey, Larry, where's the forklift?
Forklift! It's over there for the baggage loader.
Airplane. Airplane is drama.
This is Dr. Brody at the Mayo Clinic. There's a passenger on your Chicago Flight 209, a little girl named Lisa Davis, en route to Minneapolis. She's scheduled for a heart transplant. I want you to make sure that she's kept in a reclined position and that a continuous watch is kept on her IV.
Airplane is action. Airplane is romance.
I love you, Elaine.
I love you.
Airplane is music.
There is only one river, there is only one sea.
Airplane is dancing.
Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
Never has the screen been so big.
You ever been in a cockpit before?
No, sir, I've never been up in a plane before.
Peter Graves,
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
My name is Roger Murdoch. I'm an airline pilot.
Leslie Nielsen,
This woman has to be gotten to a hospital.
A hospital? What is it?
It's a big building with patients, but that's not important right now.
Lloyd Bridges,
Johnny, what can you make out of this?
This? Well, I could make a cap, or a brooch, or pterodactyl.
Robert Stack,
All right, Steve, let's face a few facts.
And we hope you enjoy the rest of your flight.
Julie Hagerty,
By the way, is there anyone on board who knows how to fly a plane?
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Robert Hayes,
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Down, get a hold of yourself.
Please, let me handle this.
I've got to get
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're one on the phone. Everything's been pulled.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
Mayday! Mayday!
All right, now everybody, get in crash positions.
the most incredible adventure the screen has ever created.
He's coming right at us!
The big news is Airplane.
Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to another movie review. And this review is going to be on Airplane from 1980. And the film stars Robert Hayes, Julie Hagerty, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lloyd Bridges, Peter Graves, Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack, and Steven Stucker. And the film was written and directed by Jim Abrahams, David Zucker, and Jerry Zucker. And Airplane, haven't seen this movie. I know a lot of you are probably shocked I had never watched this film until now. But just got done watching it, and the film is a classic. It is one of the funniest films I have ever seen. It's now on my list of favorite comedies, and it has a good cast. You know, from Robert Hayes to Julie Hagerty to Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack, Lloyd Bridges, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Just a very good cast that they have for the film. But I know a lot of you have probably seen the film and know what it's about, but pretty much basically it's a parody of disaster films that came out in the 70s, and the film borrowed some elements from this film called 0 Hour from 1957, where it borrowed the plot to that film and some of the central characters and the dialogue. And this film also drew elements from the films in the Airport series. But pretty much it follows Ted Stryker, who is played by Robert Hayes. He's an ex-fighter pilot who was in the war. He was a war veteran who turned taxi driver. And he has a fear of flying because, he flew a plane, but it didn't go too well. And he has this drinking problem where he pretty much basically splashes, beverages on him, but, anywhere on his body but into his mouth, which was funny. So pretty much he had a girlfriend, Elaine Dickinson, who was played by Julie Hagerty, who was his girlfriend in the war. And she basically is now a flight attendant. And she breaks off her relationship with Ted, with Robert Hayes' character. And she ends up boarding a flight from LA to Chicago. Because the plane that, we see in the film is landing in Chicago. So pretty much Robert Hayes still has feelings for Julie Hagerty's character Elaine, where he abandons his taxi. He has a guy waiting in there. So pretty much basically he buys a ticket on the same flight that Elaine is flight attendant on to try to win her back. And what's funny was one of the woman behind the desk is like, "Oh, smoking or non-smoking?" And he goes, "Smoking." So she ends up giving him a ticket, and it's all smoky, which is funny. So he goes on board, and Julie Hagerty's character Elaine continues to reject him. And just right from there, the passengers on the plane, it goes absolutely crazy, where there's a meal that is served, and the entire flight crew and passengers end up getting sick because they discovered that they ate fish, and the fish caused food poisoning. So that's how Leslie Nielsen's character, who is Dr. Rumack, is his character. He discovers that the fish has caused food poisoning, and everybody, the flight crew, are incapacitated, and just Julie Hagerty's character ends up contacting the control tower, and it gets instructed by Steve McCroskey, who was played by Lloyd Bridges, who is the supervisor, and he's like, "Oh, activate the autopilot," because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Peter Graves, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the first officer, and Peter Graves is the captain, so they both end up falling ill because they had the fish. So it's up to Julie Hagerty and Robert Hayes to land the plane safely. Robert Hayes' character ends up getting instructions from Robert Stack, who plays Captain Rex Kramer, who was Robert Hayes' character's former commanding officer, which is now served as a commercial pilot. And pretty much that's basically what the plot to the film is about. But just the film is just absolutely hilarious. Very good slapstick comedy that the film has. Also has, its share of gags and a little bit of dark humor and running jokes. Of course, the famous line in the film is delivered by Leslie Nielsen, where he's like to Robert Hayes, "Don't call me Shirley." That's one of the most quotable lines that everybody knows from the film. And you also have this girl, Joey Hammond, who is played by Ross Harris, who is pretty much a heart transplant patient, and one of the stewardess ends up playing the guitar that she ended up borrowing from a nun. And what was funny was when she takes the guitar, she ends up walking the aisleway, and she's hitting the people on the plane with the guitar in their head, which is hilarious. And then she starts playing the guitar to the heart transplant patient, and the edge of the guitar ends up cutting off the IV on her, and she's like gasping for air, which is funny. Also, you have, since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Peter Graves' characters fall ill from the food poisoning from the fish, Julie Hagerty basically controls the plane, and they end up activating the plane's autopilot, which is this inflatable dummy, which they end up naming Otto, which is pretty cool. And you also have an appearance by Jimmy Walker, JJ from Good Times, where he plays a windshield wiper guy, where he's just cleaning the windows of the plane. You see him for like a good minute, and then he's trying to close the plane there, or close the window of the plane, and then he falls off, which is absolutely hilarious. You have Steven Stucker's character, Johnny Jacobs, who is the air traffic controller, where one of them goes to him and is like, "Oh, tell us what to do with this." And he's like, "Oh, I can make it into a hat. I can make it into a figure," which that made me laugh. You also have Lloyd Bridges as Steve McCroskey. It's always great to see the late, great Lloyd Bridges there. And, almost towards the end of the film, he ends up, going like crazy because he's sniffing, I guess it's like he's sniffing paint, and then he collapses. I thought that was pretty funny. It was good seeing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as First Officer Roger Murdoch, where, he's basically controlling the plane and flying it with Peter Graves' character. You also have this kid that comes in there to explore the cockpit. He ends up meeting Peter Graves and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he goes to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and says, "Oh, I know who you are. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar." And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is like, "Oh, don't mention that. My name is Roger Murdoch." And then the kid is just scolding Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But it was good to see, Leslie Nielsen here. May he rest in peace. Leslie Nielsen has worked with David Zucker on the Naked Gun films, which I only saw the first film, have not seen the sequels. But the first Naked Gun is a classic. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. I'm looking forward to the new one with Liam Neeson. But I thought Robert Hayes and Julie Hagerty's characters as Ted and Elaine, I thought they did good in their roles. You get the backstory of, how they met in the war, and, how Ted laid eyes on Elaine at like this bar, and Ted's dancing to Staying Alive from the Bee Gees, which is like a speed version of Staying Alive, which this scene that they done, the film was parodied in the first Ted film, where Mark Wahlberg discovers Mila Kunis. But overall, Airplane, classic film, one of the funniest films of all time. And if you haven't seen it, which I know a lot of you have seen it, but if you haven't seen Airplane, definitely check it out. I know that they did a sequel called Airplane 2, which I've heard mixed things about. But the film was wrote while Jerry Zucker, Jim Abrahams, and David Zucker were performing with the Kentucky Fried Theater. And they wanted to cast serious actors. So David Zucker ended up explaining that the trick was to cast actors like Robert Stack, Leslie Nielsen, Peter Graves, and Lloyd Bridges. He had seen those were people who up to that time had never done comedy. And David Zucker ended up saying that we thought they were much funnier than the comedians of that time were. And the film, prior to the film's release, the directors were apprehensive following a mediocre audience response at a pre-screening, but the film earned its entire budget of about 3.5 million in its first 5 days of wide release. This was in 1980. So it made 3.5 million, and at the box office it made 171 million. So at that time in 1980 dollars, it did pretty good at the box office. And since its release, the film's reputation has grown substantially. It ranks 6th on Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies list. In a 2000 survey by Channel 4 in the United Kingdom, it was judged the second greatest comedy of all time behind Monty Python's Life of Brian. 2008, it was selected by Empire Magazine as one of the 500 greatest movies of all time. And 2012 was voted number 1 on the 50 funniest comedies ever poll, which the film rightfully deserves all that. But definitely check out Airplane if you all haven't seen it. Highly would recommend it. Absolutely hilarious film, and it is such a classic. But anyway, that's it for my review of Airplane. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoy this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and until next video, I'll see you all later.